Can you hear me, Prat? Can you hear me, Prat?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go. Sorry about that, man.
No worries, man. Make that money.
Exactly. 1 minute, man. We just got to get this into a couple groups and then we'll get going. Okay. How you been, bro? I saw that your development got featured in that magazine. That is savage.
Yeah, man. It's pretty awesome, man. That project has been sold out. We've had, man, crazy amount of buyers coming through and wanting to overprice the homes, and it's been awesome.
So, bro, how'd you even get featured in that magazine? How long did that project take?
So that project, it takes about 7 months to build. But I would say from the start, from funding to all the way for completion and sold out, about 15 to 18 months.
Damn. How much money did that take?
So one of this project costs about 1.2 million, and has about, I would say about $350,000 of profit in there once it's all completed, and once you pay your investors and everything's paid out.
Wow. All right,
yeah.
A couple more groups. Bro, what do you do for fun? Are you just always working? Where were you traveling for the last 6 months before all this happened? I feel like you were on a world journey.
Yeah, so last year, I went to China. So I have an e-com business as well, which my business partner pretty much handles. I went out to China and Hong Kong to source some new connections for that business. And then I'm always going across the country. I'm meeting with investors in New York, California. I kind of like work and vacation at the same time. So I kind of like connect with everyone and just have fun, party with them, and just create new relationships.
That's dope, bro. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is my friend Prat. I met him. Where'd we meet? Houston, or did we meet in Tampa?
I think we met in Tampa, I believe.
We met in Tampa?
Yeah, I think so. Or did we meet at the convention here? I honestly can't remember.
Maybe it was. Were we on the party buses with you? That's what it was.
Yeah,
we were in Houston.
Yeah.
We were in Houston. So this is Prat. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, man? You've been doing some crazy shit.
Hey guys. So my name's PRATIC GANDI. I'm a real estate investor, entertainer, educator. So pretty much I run a real estate company where we invest in multifamily assets. We flip houses. We create rental portfolios, Airbnbs. Pretty much I raise capital, and I am the operator of all these projects. I run them. We have in-house construction crews. Like, I pretty much run all the construction, the whole project from start to finish. Also run a party bus company and an entertainment company. That's something that's been going on since I was 12 years old. That was my first venture into business, and that's kind of what got me started into raising capital, actually.
Wow. So let's talk about that first business first. What did that look like? What gave you the idea?
So, man, I always been passionate about business. It's just the creation of solving problems, right? So I always wanted to solve problems. Back then, I was really good with like electronics, and everyone loved music, right? Music is a very valuable service for everyone. So back then, I was like 11 years old. I just wanted to figure out a way to make money and serve my clients. And my parents were more corporate people. They didn't really get into the business side of things. So I wanted to get started. I knew that my neighbor was having a birthday party, and he called me over. He was like, "Hey, Prat, can you just play some music? I know you're good with like electronic stuff. Can you just hook up your laptop?" I was like, "Man, I'll just stay there for 3 or 4 hours. I'll just play the music so your guests can be entertained." I just took my laptop and an aux cord and connected it to his soundboard. And literally, I played music for 3-4 hours. He was like, "Man, everyone loved your music selection." Paid me like $75. I was like, "Man, this is awesome!" Like $75 for a 12-year-old. That was pretty awesome, right, for me at that time. So I was like, "Man, I can do this." So then they started actually referring me to other neighbors. So like in the next few weeks, almost every weekend, I had a party where I took my laptop and I connected to their sound bar, whatever they had in the house, and I played music for a few hours. And I was getting paid every weekend. And I was like, "Man, I think this is a business that I need to start." And then I looked into what is this called? I didn't even know what a DJ was called back then. So I was like disc jockey. So I was like, man, what do I need? So I saw all these like different turntables, speakers that you need. And all my clientele just kept piling up. Man, more people started calling me. I was 12 years old. My dad was taking me to these gigs, so it was pretty crazy. So I had to figure out how I was gonna buy all this equipment, because I mean each equipment, even a laptop costs like $1,000+, and I didn't have that type of money. So I was trying to find a loan. So obviously I went to my parents. I was like, hey, can you all give me $10,000? They turned me down straight up. They're like, stop wasting time on that. Go read, finish your homework. And so I kept asking them for weeks and weeks. I even went to my uncle. I went to my friends. They all turned me down. And then I created a business plan. With everything I needed, how this business is going to work, from profit, loss, expenses. And then I sat down with my dad. I was like, look, I'm really serious. I'm going to give you all my birthday money that I collected. It was only like $500, but this is my down payment right here. I won't ask for anything for 2 years. Give me this loan. So he sat down with me for a few hours one weekend, and the next weekend we did the same thing. So I gave him everything I needed and to expand this business. So the weekend after that, we went to Guitar Center, and he was like, all right, I agreed to your loan. I'm going to increase your credit line to $20,000. So now my dad's agreed to give me $20,000 instead of $10,000. So this was like on another level for me. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to go big now. I'm going to get all the speakers, lighting, audio equipment I needed. And now I've launched like a full DJ business. And ever since then, people started calling me for weddings, birthday parties. I was doing parties at big venues. Even like I did destination weddings. And I was at age 13 to 14 at this period. So I was like killing it. Every weekend I was booked. Friday to Sunday I was booked. My parents didn't let me do any gigs on weekdays because I was still going to school and stuff. So, my dad was still taking me to gigs every weekend. So he had another job to do. So once all that started, I was piling up with more clients, and I couldn't handle it myself. So I started outsourcing other DJs. I was like, come work for me. And I started handing off some of these events to other DJs. Now I had like a full team of 5 DJs working under me. I started adding in event coordinators. I started adding in more lighting effects. So I was like the full production I had under my wing. And pretty much I created a 6-figure business at I think I was age 15 when I hit my first 6 figures.
So dope.
Yeah. And then from there, that's when I got into the party bus business. I actually started to buy my first party bus bus, I think around age 17. And we bought a broken bus and fixed it up. That business didn't work out with my friends. I bought it with 2 other friends for like 10 grand. The bus was 10 grand. So you probably knew that there was a lot of problems with that bus. So we ran a couple times, but it kept breaking down. So that business wasn't working out at that time. And then my friends, they quit on me. They were like, okay, I just want to pull out my money, sell the thing, whatever money we get, I'm out of here. So they gave up. I still believed in the business because I know entertainment, people love like partying and just having fun in the weekend. So I went out to California and bought a exotic looking party bus. That was my first bus. I shipped it down here to Houston, and I started a party bus business. And just like my DJ business, I had a lot of clients. So I pretty much inputted the party bus business into my clientele just as another package. And that started taking off. So at this point, I was running 2 companies while I was, 17 years old. Did really well in high school. The business was booming. And I mean, for me, my parents were still paying for some of my expenses. So I was just stacking up money. So I was like, what's the next thing? Like, I don't know what I should do. But then I started looking at houses. I loved looking at houses since I was like a younger kid. I just toured them and look at them. So I was like, what can I do in real estate? What is real estate? And that's when I became a realtor. And, once I became a realtor, that's when all the avenues or opportunities started coming up. And that's when I kind of get into in the investing side. So before I go into the real estate, like, you have any questions about so far?
Party bus business, and that's the party bus business we used when we were out in Houston?
Yeah, now I have 4 buses that are running. They're still well right now because of the corona going on. They're not really running right now just because of safety, but yeah, it's still running. I mean, it's a fun business. I leverage it with my clients. Whenever I need to take clients or investors, we just get on the bus, and it's like a private bus, right? It's your own. So
that's cool. And so how much revenue were you hitting at like the peak of that when you were in high school, bro?
So I think my peak point was probably 150,000. At that time, I only had 1 bus. I started adding on buses when I was in college. That's when I added on 2 more buses.
Did you actually go to college? Did you finish college?
Yeah, I went to college. I did the shortest program there so I can get out. I went to U of H. At first, I was trying to go to UT Austin for the business school, but I was like, man, I'm learning more business skills than I can in school. So I was like, I'm going to continue scaling my businesses. So I came back to U of H and finished the easiest program and got out.
What was it? What was the program?
So it was economic. So it's a triple minor economic program at U of H. So pretty much you choose 3 minors and it counts as your 1 degree. So it was like the easiest and shortest amount of work I needed to do for school. So I went in there. At first, I really was against it because for me, I was looking at an ROI perspective, and it just didn't make sense for me for school. Like going to school, I paid probably like $70,000 in total for all 4 years, and I mean, if I invested that in real estate, you already know what the ROI in real estate is. So, so I thought of that, but it's important, like going through college and learning the skills of learning and I guess balancing all the different work. You had businesses to run and school work, so that was something new.
How hectic was that?
It was very hectic. Like I was nonstop from morning to night, just working. Like I still partied. I made time to party and enjoy with my friends and family, but I slept less. I didn't sleep much, probably 3-4 hours a night, and just kept going like that for a while.
Okay, and then so we go through college. You're still operating your businesses, and then what happened after college?
So after college, I really got into real estate investing. So I became a licensed realtor. I met some of my business partners while I was a licensed realtor, and you know, when I met my business partners, we had this vision of going into the investing side. And my other business partner, his name is Paul. He's done some flips, and he built some homes around 2004. That's when he started. So during that time, he made a killing at that time. So he hasn't done any investing since then. And then my other business partner, Matthew Flores, he's like a killer at sales. So pretty much all 3 of us is the 3 pillars to our empire. That's what we say, because we all have our unique skill set. So we got together and we're like, all right, let's look for a flip, rundown home where we can just, rehab it, upgrade it, and sell back on the market. Normal flip. This is the first time we did it. We got into a flip, and it was like my passion to see something distressed and make it more modern. So it was fun doing it, but I went over budget on my first project. I was just doing it like I was gonna live there personally. So I started putting this nice stuff in, and we're like, where'd the profit go? So that made me learn a lot about real estate investing. It was like, kind of saving, being conservative, kind of putting in the nice stuff, but at a more conservative price. So I learned how to save money wherever I can, and timeline, kind of organizing the timelines of the project, making sure that everything aligns up with the timeline. You can't just be like, okay, I'll get this flip project, I'll show up next week and it'll be done. No, I learned that the hard way when I hired contractors. I'll give them a deposit check. A week later, nothing's been done, and I can't contact them. They're gone. They're gone with my money. So I'll be losing money in the beginning like that. So I had to learn the hard way many times in the beginning. But from those mistakes, it made me realize that, look, if you want to raise capital, you want to get into construction, doing these projects, you got to be in it fully. You got to be on site every day, every single project. No matter how many projects you're running, you got to be there. Like, that's why I'm in my car right now. I'm outside of another project. I'm going to every single site. I'm running about 25 projects right now, worth over 20 million currently. So I'm physically going to project. So that was something I learned. And so after I learned all those mistakes, learned the construction ways, learned the timelines, that's when I started raising capital. I was like, okay, we can do this at a volume base if we had more capital, because we were using our own money. And with your own money, you can go so far, maybe a deal or 2 deals at max. So then I started raising capital, and honestly, in the beginning, it was pretty easy. I got lucky. I went to my family and friends. I was like, look, I've been running this entertainment business for a long time. I did well. Now I'm in real estate. I started leveraging my business partner's experience. I told them like what my business partner is bringing to the table and what we're going to bring to the table. They already kind of trusted me because they knew I was hardworking. So they're like, Prat, hey, we're going to give you a chance. We're going to loan you $50,000. And there were like 3 of them. So I got $150,000 right off the bat to start off my business. And that was like a blessing to me. We started buying more flip projects. We started leveraging with bank money, institutional money, and then started doing more volume like that. And that kicked me off to multifamily. I found my first apartment deal. It was like a 9-unit apartment complex that we found for like $200,000. And once we were done, it was worth about $750,000. Once all the rehab went in and the add value, that's when I was like, dude, this is amazing. Multifamily it's all based on income. So it was a whole game changer to me, because I've seen flip projects, single family flips, you make a good profit there, but multifamily and rentals is where the legacy money is. So I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to go for. So I got into multifamily, and then I started running into investors that are like, hey, do you have any investments that you do new builds? I was like, okay, I haven't done any new builds, but I need to look into it. So pretty much I used my construction background, and I was like, okay, I just need to get crews together where we can pretty much build a house from scratch. It's like the same thing, right? Framers, you need a concrete guy for foundation, electrical, plumbing, all the subcontractors. So I did my first project, just like my first flip project. Things didn't go perfect. I had a lot of delays with the city permitting, replatting the land. There were many mistakes. But after that first project, we made some profit, and I gave it all back to my investors. I made like no money whatsoever, but they were really happy that I made them a great return on that first project. And they didn't know about what I do is if there's any problems, I'm the problem solver. So that's why I'm out here every day solving problems. And that's the mindset I have. So that's why for investors, they're putting their money, their life savings sometimes with you. And, you want to protect that money like it's your own. So you got to do whatever it takes to complete these projects successfully. So after that first project, more people started coming up to me. They were like, hey, like we got some capital, we got 50K, 100K. And then I started building more new construction homes right here in the Heights. I don't know if you're well aware of the Houston area, but Heights, Cottage Grove, and Rice Military is kind of in the loop. It's a very high-end area. And I started building homes all across here, like 3 units, 4 units here. And we started scaling big. And from there, so we're still doing flips, we're doing new construction and multifamily. And now today, like I said, I'm running over 25 projects mixed with all those new construction, multifamily, lots of flips every month. So I'm pretty busy right now. And I guess now it comes down to how I'm kind of able to raise this type of capital. And like I said in the beginning, I was blessed, but you don't stay blessed all the time. You got to put in some work. You gotta present to new investors that you never met. So you're not gonna have that blessing all the time. So I started pitching on Zoom calls like across the country to like 100 investors, 50 investors. I started pitching them projects. So the main thing was like pretty much letting them know about you and your company on a personal basis. So what I say, I was always building that relationship, that introduction. That's the key thing about raising this money. And what I did is before I started pitching them the project, the first 2 calls was purely getting to know them, them knowing you, so they feel a little bit more comfortable. So I did that many times. On the Zoom call is a little bit harder, but for investors who are locally, take them out to drinks, take them out to dinner, know them, know their family, kind of build a family around them, so they feel more comfortable. Like, look, hey, I know this guy really well. I know what he does on a daily basis. I know what his hobbies are, so they feel more comfortable. And then I'm like, after a few weeks or a month, I'm like, all right, it's time now. I pitch the deal. So I pitch the deal. I tell them, like, look, I'm being very transparent. These are the pros and cons to the project. And you got to let them know, be very blunt with everything that could happen. A lot of people are showing the bright side, but I also show the downfall in this too. Just that just makes them feel more comfortable. So I was very transparent with all my investors, and I showed them like physically some of my products that I have in inventory. So I showed them physically. They loved my product. I believe in my product, so they started believing in it. You just kind of make them visualize the actual project. So once they have that in their head, it's like a closed deal. So there's going to be a lot of times where investors are going to ask you a billion questions. And you might get frustrated. They might ask you the same questions the next day, but if you're there answering it day or night, man, you're going to create a network that no one else would be able to. And that's what I did. I did things that, other lead investors aren't willing to do. And I showed them that I'm not in a shiny high-rise office that's working out of there. I'm physically on the sites there every single day and showing them that I'm getting in on the workers. Like, the workers aren't, I'm just not outsourcing everything. I'm there physically. I'll pick up a hammer too if I need to save some money and put in some doorknobs and do whatever I can on my part. Obviously, like electrical, plumbing, I can't do any of that. But whatever I can save money to really make the project have a higher ROI, I'll do. And that's what it comes down to. And that's what investors really love, that, look, everything that's going on in your project. So I know that's a lot of information I just threw out.
That's a lot, man. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And you're only 26, by the way.
I'm only 26 years old, and I'm learning every day, and I'm blessed to have this experience every day. That's what I would say.
And so, do you guys do ground up multifamily or no?
No, we just buy distressed multifamily complexes.
Okay. And so you do ground up. Let's talk about that project we were just talking about that got featured in that Houston magazine.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about that. Let's talk about where you found the capital, where you found the land, and everything.
All right. So the land was all credits to my business partner. He was driving around the Heights, and he was like, he found this for sale by owner sign, and he was like, Prat, hey, like, we found a for sale by owner, and it's a really good location. So this project is located right on I-10 and Yale Street. It's right behind Sprouts. There's a Starbucks around the corner. It's a very prime location right off the freeway. And there was a single family home, a rundown single family home on the property. And it's about 5,000 square feet lot. So we're like, man, we can easily build 3 units. So we called our city planner. Before we started even talking about negotiating with the owner, we found out, can we actually do something with the land? So we started, doing all our research. We called our city planner, called the city of Houston to figure out if there's any liens or any restrictions on this property. So once everything was clear, we started mailing the seller letters. Hey, like, we would like to buy your home cash. We did that for several weeks, and after the 3rd month, we got a reply to him. Okay, I was actually about to put this lot on the market, but I'd rather save the realtor fees. So pretty much he contacted us. We came down to the deal. I bought this lot for about $400K. Just the lot, and then we replatted it. So what we do is, when we buy a lot like this with a single family home, first we'll demo it out, demolish the existing home. It was a rundown home anyways, so we demolished it. We replatted land into 3 different lots, so we can build 3 different units. And we pretty much worked with our architect and created plans and submitted to the city. Once the replatting was done, once we got the city submission done, everything is approved. That's when we start construction. So this was about a $1.2 million project. And you're wondering, how did I get the money for that? So pretty much what I did was I created, like, throughout my other projects, I created a network. So what I do is I created groups with investors in certain areas, say like Houston. All my Houston investors are in one group. I'm always talking to them about deals. I'm talking to them, oh, look, I found a great deal. I'm not even pitching anything. I'm just talking to them about the real estate market, how things are, what I'm doing. I always keep that active in all my groups. So I told them, hey, like, we have this great opportunity that came up. We got the plans. We checked with the city. Everything's looking good. We need X amount of money for this, X amount of capital for this project. Is anyone interested? And a ton of people raised their hands. So I started going to Starbucks, started going to dinner meetings, started pitching them about that project. And before I started pitching on the project, I was like, look, come to another project I have existing. Come look at my single family flips I'm doing. Come look at that. Before you tell me a yes or no, come look at that. You tell me what the quality of the build, the quality of the timeline is, and then we can move forward. So some people rejected. They're like, I don't know. It seems a little bit more risky and too long of a timeline. I don't want to do it. I was like, I feel that. But some of the investors came out and were like, all right, if we get into this, what is it looking like? What's the worst case scenario? I told them the worst case scenario is the city approval. That could take a while. And that did take a little bit longer than what we expected. So we were expecting the replatting and the approval to take, say, about 3 to 4 months. But it took like 8 months. So our overall project ended up being anywhere from, I think, 15 to 18 months for this project. And as soon as it started building up, people started coming around. They're like, hey, like, we want to put an offer. It was popping, but we didn't accept any offers till it was actually finished because we wanted to see what the highest offer is. In our middle unit, we had it for $500,000, and it just sold for $550,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's kind of the summary of the process. I had to do a lot of meetings before I raised that capital for this project, but the one thing I didn't do is stop. I kept bombarding them. Follow-up is the key. Non-stop follow-up. Like, just following up, just close a deal whenever you can. Just take them out to dinner till they say yes. I mean, what's the worst case? A $50, $100 dinner, you're spending even $1,000, but at the end of the day, if you close a deal, that's worth the money. So
exactly. And so do you have a minimum requirement you require from your investors?
Usually I keep my minimum at 100,000. Unless it's like a flip project, something small, then I'll lower the minimum. But I'll keep it at 100,000 because the less investors involved, the easier it is in communication and keeping everyone up to date. So it's less work on me. Or I go towards groups, like where there's one lead guy who is kind of like in a group of friends. He's kind of like the communicator, so it makes my job easier. Because I'd rather stay focused on the construction and the marketing aspect of the project than worry about, I got to update like 50 people,
Yeah. And so is each one just like its own personal fund, right? So that
fund, every project is its own fund. Yeah.
Have you thought about doing like one massive fund?
So we do have one massive fund that we just created. That's for I guess accredited investors. But for some of these projects, what we learned is if they're loaning to the company, you don't have to go through securities. I know securities, it's a big complicated thing, but it's not really that complicated, but it just adds on more attorney fees, especially if you have investors who trust you. And I mean, you can always give liens on the property to the investors for their security's sake. But the main thing is if they trust you, if they are willing to just do a promissory note or just a loan document, just loaning the company money for that project, then that's the easiest route. You don't have to go through the securities, apply for, all the regulations they involve. So it just makes it simpler. And that's what I did for the small projects. And even some of these projects that say my closer friends or family got involved, I'll just make it simple. They trust me. I trust them. Let's just make it easy and simple as that. So that's what I found. I was always talking to attorneys, securities attorneys. I want to make the systems as streamlined as possible. So there's always loopholes around everything. So you just got to talk around, be educated about the process on all the legal side too. Even though you can always hire an attorney, but you want to know, like, when you're presenting, these are the questions they'll ask you. How we're going to structure it. What are the securities involved? There's numerous questions like that. So at least a general knowledge would be nice, and then always recommend talking to an attorney since they are well educated in that field. So I guess in terms of raising capital, there's a lot of different methods on raising capital. Is this creating that relationship is the main thing. Like, you got to really get good at meeting people and creating that connection with them. And if you can do that, you're on point.
Yeah, man. And what do you care sharing? Like, what type of return do you offer your investors? Like, do you give like equity in the deal? Do you give them just a return on their money?
So it's kind of based on the investor. If they're bringing a large amount of cash in, we'll kind of negotiate. But most of the time, it's like we'll do maybe like a flat annual return, maybe like 8 to 10% returns. Say if it's a long-term project, we'll do like an equity profit sharing split, where we'll do like, they'll get like 30%, we'll get 70%. Things like that. It's all negotiable depending on what they're bringing to the table. Like, if it's an investor that's bringing 100,000, that's different. And an investor that brings in $2 million, you'll have a different talk with them. So keep it kind of open-ended, and just kind of figure out your terms beforehand. Present the investor your terms first. But if they're not willing to budge, and this is kind of like your only investors you want to seal the deal with, be open to negotiate. See what they exactly are looking for, and then, set a term that works and makes it a win-win situation for everyone.
Yeah. So we got the returns. What's your multifamily business like? Is that syndication? What's that aspect? And what do you guys do marketing-wise? You relationships with brokers?
So for multifamily, I found all my multifamily off-market. I haven't found it through a listing agent. I haven't gone on LoopNet, found that. I literally found them all off-market, direct seller access. And pretty much what I focus on small apartments is it's anywhere from 6 units to 40 units. So I found numerous apartment complexes like that, and that's the niche that not many people go in. Like, a lot of syndicators are going for the 100, 200, 300 units. And then you have to give away equity to the investors. For me, I created a structure where I created a loan-based structure where they're loaning me capital, just like my other projects, to buy the multifamily. And they'll know there's add value. We're going to raise the rents and then refinance. So in that process, I'm able to give them their full principal and their return back. And now I keep 100% of the equity. Now I have that passive income and that appreciation and all the benefits. So I try to give a little bit better rate. Like, I might even boost it up to 10 to 12% on those multifamily deals. So just give them that extra incentive for investing in multifamily deals. So for me as an operator, this is building my portfolio up faster than anything else. Instead of like doing the syndication part where you have to give away a lot of equity, and then you're left with a little piece. Even like, I have investors who own like 200 units, but their small piece is equivalent to my 40 doors,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. And so do you market direct to seller? Like, do you have like a marketing department? Like,
so we have a wholesale team now. We actually recently just got into really getting to wholesale. But before, back then when we were buying multifamily, we were kind of marketing directly for, like, if it's a multifamily in a certain area, we'll do like direct mailing. We're kind of using the systems for wholesaling, but just to buy our own deals. But now we're actually full swing in wholesale. So we've been working on that pretty hardcore now. So now whatever deals we like, we'll buy ourselves. If we don't, we'll wholesale them out to other investors.
Man, you're really killing it. Let's talk about your e-com business. What's that look like? What got you into e-com?
So e-com, so that is more on with my business partner. I am just kind of like an investor in that. So I wasn't able to say much about it yet because we started about a year ago. We're still working on it. So maybe in 2021, I'll give you a better idea of how that's looking.
Okay, bro. Now let's talk about like, what's your day look like when you're not out there managing projects? Do you have like a morning routine that you always follow? What's that like?
Yeah, so I wake up around 6 o'clock. Not extremely early. I get up, just kind of just sitting there. I don't do anything at all. Just sit there, kind of take a breath before my day opens up. I'll have coffee, and then I'll start looking into reading my emails. I might read a short chapter in a book just to refresh my memory. I'm really into law of attraction and self development books. So I'm just always reading something out of those books every morning. So then once I'm all ready to go, I'll leave the house around 7:30, and that's when my calls start. Like construction, right at 7 a.m., I'll get hit with calls. So I got to make sure my guys are on site, because Monday morning, after a whole weekend of partying, my workers don't want to be there right early shine morning. So I'm calling all my workers, making sure all the crews are set on site, so we're ready to have a good week. And I started going to every site every single day. So yeah, even if I have 30 different houses I need to look at, I'll go to all 30 houses in one day, every single day.
Really?
And I'll stop by. Yeah, and that's why I invested in actually a Tesla, so it saves me money, so I don't have to worry about it.
Which Tesla do you got?
I got the Model S. It's a 2015 version. I got actually a good deal, so I bought this. It's worth the money because of the tax benefits, obviously, and the amount of gas I save on a daily basis. Because the Lexus I had before this, and I was paying like $800 on gas every month. So, and that's not including maintenance costs, tire costs, all that. So this definitely saved me some money. So
that is insane. So we got e-commerce. How is your wholesale business doing?
So wholesale is doing really well right now. All the deals actually we've been finding are been like jackpot deals, I would say. Like we've been buying them ourselves. So I just signed a deal. It's a $3 million flip fund deal with the investment group. So pretty much all the deals I've been finding, I've been just buying them myself and flipping them. So I'm always looking ways to increase that fund and just keep it going, because we have so much volume coming out, especially in this market where there's more distressed owners out there. So we're trying to just make it a win-win situation. And I'm always about people are like, man, how are you going to cut out sellers and, give them a discount? But for me, it's like, I want to create a win-win situation where we're actually helping them rather than seeing it as only a ROI situation. So I want to get them out of their situation and where we can benefit and they can benefit and get out of that. So that's the way I look at it.
How in the world are you hedging risk? Like risk mitigation, where everybody's talking about a market crashing? How are you avoiding that? How are you protecting yourselves in all your new developments? Because everybody knows, like, okay, new home builds are the first to go.
Yes. So now I'm definitely reducing the volume. So I built luxury homes, like $500,000 to $600,000 homes here. So I wouldn't be continue to build those. I'm pretty lucky on where the locations I pick, like Heights and Rice Military area over here. The demand's really high and the inventory is really low. So that's why my inventory is moving quickly here. But now since the market is changing quickly, I'm not trying to do more volume in this type of price point. I'm going to bring it down to, if I do new builds, they'll be more at the 300 price point, where, those are the most average price points. So I would do that. And then for flip homes, like I'm more focused on flipping and buying multifamily assets right now, especially with the market situation. So the way I mitigate risk is I look at comps. When I'm buying a flip, I look at the comps. A lot of people are like, okay, if you bought a house for $200,000, put in, $30,000 rehab, and the ARV is, I don't know, 280, but then that's a really high end price point, right? I'll look at the lowest possible comps and then decide whether it's worth the deal or not, instead of looking at the medium or high. So I'm always looking at the lowest comps, saying even lower than what I see, like I would decrease another 10%. So if I decrease another 10% on the lowest comps and I'm still good and profitable, then it's a good deal for me. And that's how I mitigate my risk, showing that like, I'm not going to ever lose money on any deal.
Okay. And do you virtual wholesale or do you just wholesale in your market? Well, you just want to buy it, right?
So right now it's just in my market. We're focused just in the surrounding cities of Houston. So I'm just staying really focused because especially with wholesale, like if I'm buying my own deals, I want to be physically able to go there, especially with all my other projects going on. If I can't drive there, then I don't want to add on that burden just for a little bit more profit,
And how would you say you've gotten your partnership to work so well up until now? There's 3 of you, right?
Yes. So it comes down to mindset. All 3 of our mindsets are exactly the same. We have a whatever it takes mindset. So it doesn't matter how much we work, we're enjoying it. We're always on the page. It's not like one partner is like, oh, like you're having to do a little bit more, why, even though we're like, equal partners. So we don't have that mindset. We're just like, okay, we're building a legacy, we're building an empire. So we got to just keep that mindset and keep going like that. So with our partnerships, I mean, we're all on the same page. We talk about our goals, our dreams. We're constantly looking at like our future homes. So like we'll go see like multi-million-dollar homes just to kind of keep us motivated. Like, okay, the next house, this is what I'm going to build. Like, and we tried, like, even though I just said try, we try not to say try. We say I will or I do, It gets a little hard at times, but that's what we try to focus on. So it comes down to just that mindset and whatever you're telling the universe. I highly believe in that, and whatever you're saying every day constantly will become true end of the day.
And who's your number one, what's it called? Mindset guy. I love Bob Proctor. Like Bob Proctor is my guy.
I was actually going to say exactly that. Yeah. I listen to all, every motivational guy out there, like Grant Cardone, Gary Vee. They all have something unique to say. So it just motivates me. And I am my own motivator. So like, I'll be sending out to my video to my assistant, be like, hey, like, let's kill this day. Let's see what we got. Let's create some new problems so we can solve them. Like, just motivating everyone, because the people who join my team or new assistants that I hire, they don't know about this lifestyle. They'll come from a different work environment. So I'm just trying to keep everyone optimistic, hyped up, and let's get through the day. And then same thing the next day.
What you got? Does everyone share the daily task or each person focus on an area of the business? So like, what are your partners' two areas of the business?
Yeah. So for our partners, everyone kind of focuses on an area. So my one of my business partner takes care of like Matt Flores. He takes care of the retail side. So he's more on focus on marketing, making sure training the team. My other business partner, he's more on back end numbers, finding some deals for some new deals. And then for me, as day to day is construction and also looking for more deals. So, while I'm handling construction, I'll be driving through like 50 neighborhoods in a day. So like, I'm always looking out for new deals for sale by owners, or I see distressed signs of homes. So I'll try to get in contact with them. So we're recruiting new deals while we're handling our business on a day to day.
I love Patrick Bet David. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, I don't get it. So we got that e-commerce. What's top 3 book recommendations, man? For someone who needs to just start off getting into business, because I feel like once you get into business, you can do anything you want.
Yeah, I think it depends on your mindset, but I would read the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. His books, like, even though like some people don't like the way he handles certain things, but his motivation, his direction, you need to have that on a daily basis, especially if you're in business and you're handling multiple different things. Like, you got to have that rush on a daily basis. So that's important to have that drive.
Okay. Other 2 books, 10X. Where'd you go, Prat?
Oh, so, sorry, hold on, my phone just froze.
We got 10X. What's Bob Proctor's book? His number 1.
Okay, sorry. Do you see me yet?
No.
Oh, I don't know what happened. Okay, can you hear me at least?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So I would say second book, Go Getter. The Go Getter book is probably by Peter Kane. That is a great book to kind of align your mindset with the day-to-day work you have, especially people who are stressed. Like, it just tells you how many things you need to get done and get them done today. Don't wait for tomorrow. So, like, there's a lot of small little items on our task list that we will push it back to the next day. But I've learned, like, even if it's a simple thing as just sending an email or you need to sign a document, you're like, oh, that's going to take a few seconds, we'll do it later. It just gets pushed back. Just get it done. As soon as you have that time where you thought of that task, then just get it done right away. So that's another book that they should definitely look into.
And then the Bob Proctor book that everybody should read is You Were Born Rich.
You Were Born Rich. Yeah, I really love that book.
You Were Born Rich. If anybody want to get started in like development, what would you say the first thing they should do is?
First thing I would say is kind of understand what your goals are. Like, write down your goals. Where you want to be in 1 month, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years. You get a kind of like a timeline put down, and so that way you kind of visualize your goals on paper, and then you got to go physically touch them. That's something I would say that you definitely need to do before you start making money or going into that career to achieve those goals. First, go physically touch your goals, and that's what first thing I would do.
That's so cool. And then last one, bro, before we head out, what would you say the best way to manage so many crews is? I know you're there every day. What is the best way to handle all that?
So for construction, so I can go on and on about construction, but the main things I would say is scope of work, having your plans, your finishes, everything set up in an organized manner. There's like templates out there you can get for free. Just having that set and making sure all your crews have that copy of that scope of work so they know exactly what's going to need to be done in that project. So that's the first thing before you even close on the property, having your scope of work done.
Okay. And then how can people find out more about you, man?
So they can follow me on Instagram, IG, at Prat's Empire. That's PRATS.
Let me see if I can put it here.
Okay. Yeah, and then they can also get in touch with DM me on Facebook. Also, you can put down my email address as well if they want to email me.
Right. Is that it? Is that right?
No, not with the E. It's no E. It's just MPIRE. Prat's Empire.
There we go. And then email you. We'll put your email in the show notes on YouTube. And what is your email? Let me see if I can just add it in here real quick.
Yeah.
What's your email?
It's Prat@empire.cc.
Empire or just same thing, MPIRE?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thank you so much for organizing this. It was great. I'll keep you updated with all the new opportunities that I get into.
Yeah, man. Awesome. Yeah. And I need to go down to Houston again anyways to see family.
Absolutely. So let me know.
Check out that party bus again.
Will do, man. Will do.